Welcome, it's your girl Lisa Austin Granville, and you're listening to the baddest radio station in the land. It's WIMG 1300 AM Great Gospel right here in Trenton, New Jersey. That's right, I said it, Trenton. And you're viewing us on WPHY TV Mercer. And in our studio, a friend of mine and a friend of the city, Mr. Samuel Frisby. Welcome.
Hey, I'm always honored to be here with you, not only with IMG, but with you.
Oh, wow.
Miss Energy who brings it every single time. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you. I know that we have a lot to talk about, but one of the things that, I know that you are, is it the director for the YMCA area?
So it's the CEO of the Capital Area YMCA.
CEO. Okay, CEO, YMCA.
The thing I love about YMCAs is people don't recognize they're actually corporate structures. They're nonprofit, but they are corporate
But
structures.
you brought it a long way, because I remember that was a place that me and my kids would come for basketball, and it wasn't really a pleasant place. It was a place that we came to because, we didn't have a lot. And it has turned around drastically in the last few years. So tell us about the changes and what we should expect futuristically.
Well, what's really interesting is that you're right. It wasn't a very pleasant place. I remember day one when I walked in, and I had to pull the roll up off the front door because at night, because I'd leave sometimes at 11 o'clock at night, and I pull that metal roll down, and all the neighbors, I could see them open up the windows like, "Can you be a little bit quieter?"
Right.
Because they had the place looking like a jail, and
did.
You had bars on the windows, you had the roll down on the doors, you had your barbed wire up around the pool. And my philosophy is that if you have all that up, they only ask two questions. One, what are you trying to keep out, or what are you trying to keep in? Right? And so we had it looking like a prison, and you begin to treat the residents like that. People who don't want to be treated like that won't come there, and people who say, "Hey, look, whatever, they're going to treat me however they want to treat me," they'll come there and they'll act up. What we wanted to do was to really change the culture and change the environment there. And so we've leveraged the opportunity to spend about $1 million there and get about $3 million worth of impact, so that we could renovate the place. Most people don't remember, but that used to be the old Fine Fair. Right, so 1940 it was
That's
built.
That's a little bit before my time.
Yeah. Well, you're only about 12 years old, right. So right. Look, that used to be an old supermarket built in 1940.
Wow.
And the Boys and Girls Club moved there in 1965. That's when the pool was put in. The YMCA, and most people don't realize, so the Trenton YMCA is one of the 12 oldest YMCAs in the country.
Country?
Yeah, we're the oldest nonprofit in the city of Trenton, and probably the oldest nonprofit in the region. Okay. We were founded in 1856 as a nonprofit, and we've been around ever since then. And the challenge was that in the early 1900s, when they were flowing with money and they had money overflowing, they decided they wanted to build a Taj Mahal of a YMCA. You talk to anybody who's a little bit over 55 years old, they remember the YMCA that was at the corner of North Clinton and East State Street. Okay. Right? Everybody tells me, "Oh, that's where I learned how to swim." And they had basketball courts, an indoor track, swimming pool. It was a beautiful place. 200 rooms. As a matter of fact, Dr. Jack Washington told me, before he passed, he said, "Sam, when I came, home, and when I came up here from down south, I stayed at the YMCA for a couple months until I got myself a teaching job and I got myself on my feet." And so that was the place to go. The problem was that in the 50s, I went back and read some of the minutes from the old minutes, and one of the board members said in 1956, he said, "If we don't get control of the capital cost of this building that we have on East State Street, it'll be the death of us." In 1980, when the rest of the country was going through a recession, the organization went bankrupt. They actually filed bankruptcy because they had about $1 million that they borrowed in order to try and fix the building, because they hadn't been fixing it over the years. They built that building in 1919, and so they hadn't really done any work on it up to 1980. They tried to do all the work at one time, and they realized in 1980 that $1 million wasn't going to cover the nut. And so they said, "You know what, we can't borrow any more money. We're going to file Chapter 11. They filed Chapter 11, and then Mayor Holland moved them to the building that we're currently in 1983. Which was the old Fine Fair. Boys and Girls Club had left. They'd been gone for about 5 years, and the building was just laying empty. And so the YMCA moved there in 1983, and we spent several $1 million trying to upgrade the building, but nobody had the vision to say, this is where we really want to stay. Right? So when I got there, people were talking about, "Well, we're going to be here for a little while, but then we're going to build something downtown." I said, we don't have the membership to build anything downtown. Right. And the way that I operate in business is I try to operate the way that a pastor of a church operates.
Okay.
Right? The pastor doesn't say, we're going to build a new building, and he's got 2 members.
Right.
The
Exactly.
pastor of the church says, we're going to have an 8 o'clock service, and when we fill that 8 o'clock service up, we're going to have an 11 o'clock service, and we fill both of those services. I'm going to let the membership tell me that it's time to build a new building. When the membership tells you it's time to build a new building, now you know you have people that are backing you to move you to building a new building.
That's good.
And so for us, we needed to do some things. So I interviewed over 100 people when I first started there in 2011. I said, tell me why you're not a member of the Y. Because what I found was that we had a lot of people that could afford YMCA programs, but they were members in Hamilton, they were members in Princeton, they were members in Hopewell, they were over in Bucks County. They were every place except for the city of Trenton. And so when I started talking to people, I said, tell me why you're not a member. Some people said, we don't like parking in the back of the Y and having to walk around the front, especially in the wintertime when it gets darker earlier.
Okay.
We don't like this, we don't like that.
So you took the concerns of the people and you applied it
And we fixed it.
You did.
Right? And so we fixed it. $1 million later, fixed several of the major issues, and then we really started to grow membership. So we went from, in 2011, 35 members of the YMCA to today over 1,800 members of the YMCA.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's amazing. And it's a testament to who you are, because you staying late, as you mentioned, but I know how much time you put in, and you have a love for it, even a passion when you speak. You can just feel it. And we thank God for you, because that is something that Trenton needs, the children need it, but even the men and women, they need that. So thank you so much for your contribution. It's huge.
Well, look, for me, it was about making sure that the business model succeeded here. Right, I live here. I live in the city of Trenton. I live about 1 mile from the Y,
Okay.
and I need a place for my kids to go as well. Right, so it was a little bit selfish, but also that's what I've been doing since I've been in the city. When I was head of Parks and Recreation, the goal for me there was to make sure that recreation programs were, if my kids couldn't go there, then nobody's kids should go there. Right, so I'm going to make the programs as good as they should be for my children, my nieces, my nephews, and if they're good for them, it's going to be good for everybody. When I started there in 2011, that organization was about $500,000 in debt. It was only about a $1.5 million organization. Last year we topped out at $3.4 million. We've been in the black for the last 5 years. It's about running it like a business while you use your social service heart in order to make sure that you're serving the people.
Love it. I love what you're doing. And you expanded as well. So it's not just there, it's also is that you own what's in the shopping center as well? Isn't there a part of the YMCA?
No, well, we rent from the shopping center.
Okay, you rent that.
And that was
but
actually,
that still is the YMCA.
That's still the YMCA.
But that's still a testament. It's
where we run
growing.
the
It's
community.
growth.
Right.
It's growth.
Yeah, that's where we run the Community Dance Academy. So
Perfect.
It's one of the largest dance academies in the county. It's the only Christian dance academy in the county. So we teach ballet, tap, hip hop, African and modern, and it's all done to gospel music. So it's they rock out. They are absolutely phenomenal. Miss Renee is phenomenal director over there. She's also the director of my fitness program. We serve a couple hundred seniors weekly because we have programs for seniors. We run a 60-child preschool right there at the Y. The programs that we run there are absolutely phenomenal. We moved our summer camp out to Rider University. It's very interesting. We said that we would get to why we changed the name. Because
right,
people are like, well, you've been Trenton Y for forever. Yeah, we have been. Here's the challenge. The Trenton YMCA was named the Trenton YMCA in 1856 when Trenton was the center of the universe. Matter of fact, Hamilton wasn't even a twinkle in anybody's eye. It wasn't, the county hadn't grown. Trenton was everything. As a matter of fact, Ewing still has zip codes that when you mail them things, it says Trenton.
It does.
Right? And so does Hamilton, and so does Lawrence. Right? But those particular communities have kind of begun to really grow their own legs. YMCAs are a federated organization, which means that we're like McDonald's. We have our own territories. My territory encompasses Trenton, Ewing, and Lawrence.
Okay.
And the challenge for us was that every time I would go into Ewing and Lawrence to bring them programs, they'd say, well, why are you here? You're the Trenton YMCA. And what I realized was that we were being exclusive in how we named ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And when you name yourself something different, it's like Adam, right? God said, once you go out there and what you name it, it will be, right? You named the lions, and the lion was a lion. You named
now,
the
was
zebra.
that a challenge for some people for you to take the Trenton out?
It was a challenge for some people, but for the people that we serve, The people who was a challenge for are the people who pontificate about, why would you take Trenton out of the name?
Right.
The people who we serve, all they're worried about are the service is good.
Yeah.
Right? And so for us, it was about how do I run the business and make sure that I can serve everybody who's in my region and still do all the good work that we do. And so the people that have been bringing their children there for after school or come for Zumba or
has it become more
classes,
diverse? Because I heard that. I heard it's been much more diverse, and the name probably has helped. Because at the end of the day, we do want, we want to be able to extend ourselves. We want to show ourselves friendly. And, I think it's a beautiful community, and it's a wonderful opportunity to show how great we really are.
Yes. Well, you're exactly right. It has become more diverse, and I think that's really, really important when we're talking about New Jersey, right? New Jersey itself, most people don't realize, New Jersey is almost like a plantation, right? If you think about it and you look at most of the municipalities, New Jersey, why it has such difficulty is we have 565 municipalities. They're all home rule, and they tend to be very homogenous. And if you're a person of color in New Jersey, and think about it, because I had to really do some research on it as I started thinking about it. If you're a person of color in New Jersey and you're a person that makes a middle class income, and the middle class income means that you have a little bit of money in the bank and you don't have to worry about that if you miss a paycheck that you're going to be on the street, right? So if you have a middle class income and you're a person of color, you're typically forced to make a decision in New Jersey. You're forced to make a decision about where you'll live. Am I going to live around people, is it where I have a majority of the people that look like me,
right,
or am I going to live in a place where people make the same amount of money that I make? Right? New Jersey is very much like that. It's a very homogenous community, right? And so we don't know how to be diverse. If you think about what the school district looks like, right? So New Jersey school districts, we're the second most segregated school district in the nation, right? Second most segregated school district in the nation. That means more segregated than most of the southern states.
Trenton.
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
The state of New Jersey.
Oh yeah, I can believe that, of course.
And it's because
of course, when you look at the communities, it's you know what you're getting. Right. And like you said, it's a choice because you can choose to be in a community with people who look like you or make the same income as you.
And why can't I have both?
Right, exactly.
Right, and so for me, when we talk about developing diversity through the YMCA, and we talk about developing diversity through the type of work that we do, for me, this is a life's mission. Right? It's about how do we make sure that we don't have homogenous communities where people have to make decisions like that. I want to make a decision about where I live because I just want to live there, not because I'm making a decision over whether or not my kids are going to go to a great school district and whether or not I'm going to live in a high crime area, or am I going to live, am I going to be able to see people that look like me every day? That I want to be able to have both.
You want it all,
right?
And
we should
that's a good thing, and we should, So I love that your vision is, what you're doing is you're changing the minds of how people think. You're creating a different vision for people to say these are the possibilities, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think it's working. Because again, I've spoken to people who go to the Y, and I'm like, the Y? They was like, yeah, you gotta come by. They was even telling me about the bathrooms, the showers are nice, and and that's a wonderful thing. I didn't even know they had showers, so I gotta come for a tour.
You do,
because it's been a while. Because since my kids play basketball, actually, it's been a while. Because you've been there for how many years?
7 years now.
7 years. Wow.
7 years. Yeah, come on through and see the showers. What I love is when the state workers come through, because the state workers come and play basketball in the afternoon.
Okay.
Every day at 12 o'clock noon. And they do it around Trenton High School, because while Trenton High School was building their high school, we worked with the school district to make sure that we could be their gymnasium. So Trenton High School students are bused to us every day from November to March. And the state workers work around them. But I love when state workers who don't live in Trenton come play basketball, and then they go into our locker rooms and say, how come your locker rooms are nicer than my Y's locker rooms? That's because we wanted to make sure that they were as nice, if not nicer, because I believe that the Trenton community, the Ewing community, the Lawrence community, that we all deserve the best, but we deserve equity in the places that we visit. Right? It shouldn't be that when you come to Trenton, you say, oh, I know I'm in Trenton because it's not as good. You should be able to come to Trenton and say, this Y serves all three communities. This is exactly what I would expect in Ewing, Trenton, or Lawrence.
Well, we got to take a little break. But before we do, just give everyone the address, the name, and how they can get in touch with the Y.
Sure. Capital Area YMCA. We're located at 431 Pennington Avenue in Trenton, New Jersey. You can go to our website, which is www.capitalymca.org.
Amen. And also, when we come back, let's talk about membership. Some rules and the fees, if that's okay.
Sure.
Awesome. So listen, for those who are listening, you're listening to your girl Lisa Austin Granville on WIMG 1300 AM, and you're viewing us on WPHY TV Mercer, and we'll be back after this break. Granville, and you are tuned in to WIMG 1300 AM right here in Trenton, New Jersey. It's the baddest gospel radio station in the land, and you're also viewing us on WPHY TV Mercer. And that's right. And I have a special guest, Mr. Samuel Frisby. Thank you for joining me this evening. This has been great. We've been talking about the Trenton YMCA and all the things that you have done. You've been there for 7 years. 7 years is a sign of completion,
yes.
Right? But we know that there's still so much to do, but you have completed a great work, and so I thank you. I'm sure a lot of the other city folks thank you. But we have so much other things to talk about because you wear a lot of hats, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about some other hats that you wear, but just for this moment, please take time for someone who is listening that may be local in Trenton, New Jersey, where they can get a membership and the fees and how that process goes if they're from a different if they're from a different township.
Sure. I mean, so if they're from Trenton, Ewing, or Lawrence, we are their YMCA, and the beautiful thing about the Y is they actually have a nationwide membership.
Okay.
So when you register with our YMCA, you can visit any other YMCA in the country for free. So it's part of the nationwide membership. The only thing is that you have to use your YMCA more than you use the other YMCAs.
Okay.
Right? So they don't want you paying, because our rates are a lot less expensive than Princeton or Hamilton.
Okay.
So a family membership at our YMCA is $47 a month.
Beautiful.
And that has 2 adults and 6 children, right? So that because we know we have big families, so
Right.
we made it a little bit larger, and they're
Beautiful.
connected to that. Most of our programs are already wrapped in that. So if you come for Zumba, if you come for the cardio kickboxing, if you come for the new MOSA class that we just started, if you come for butt and gut, whatever it might be,
Okay.
they get it in.
I
They
might
get
have
it
to
in.
sign up for one of them classes, Samuel.
But those are all actually in the membership.
Okay.
Right. So we also have a rate for single mothers and single fathers.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
that's, I think, $35 a month for the family. For individuals, for adults, it's $23 a month, $24 a month. I'm sorry. And for children and teenagers, it's $15 a month. And that includes all the programming that they would be engaged in, pretty much. So we ask people to come on down, register. We are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays we are open from 8:30 to 3 on Saturdays. And I'm trying to expand those, but I need people to come in. Trenton folks don't like to come out and recreate on Saturdays.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I used to have us open on Saturdays and Sundays. And on Sundays, we'd be open, we'd be packed all throughout the week. And on a Sunday, I'd have 3 staff people there, and I'd have 2 people come in all day.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, we can't continue to do that because
Right,
we have to
right.
run the business.
Okay.
Right? So, but yeah, people can come in. Our rates are reasonable. They can get connected with the programming. Seniors have a special rate. Our seniors are $15 a month.
That's beautiful.
And again, we have the least expensive rates in the state.
That's absolutely beautiful. And for those who are listening, it's a beautiful facility. It's grown, it's expanded, and there's so much more activities that you can do. So, please take advantage of it. And, as we continue to talk about the YMCA, Trenton, please support your local YMCA. As Mr. Frisby says, it expanded from 35 to 1,800?
Over 1,800.
Over
members.
1,800 members. That's amazing. That's, astounding. So, but thank you so much for talking about that and so about the YMCA, because this has been huge for us. But now about the many hats that you wear, sir. Talk about them. I know you're into politics. Tell the people it is what you do and how we're having an upcoming election and what we need to focus on.
Yeah, well, So, do wear multiple hats. Yeah, I'm also the minister of music for 2 different churches.
Okay.
So my Sundays are always packed. People are like, how come you didn't come out to our Sunday event? Because I was sitting at an organ or a piano.
What church do you go to?
Well, I play for Second Baptist in Morristown. I also play for Westminster Presbyterian here in Trenton.
Okay.
My wife and I are actually members of Union Baptist Church.
Okay, well,
So,
shout out to all 3 churches.
yeah, so yeah, we try to get it in every place that we can. But on the political front, you know, look, my mom has been involved in politics for close to 40 years now. Actually, a little over 40 years. She got involved when I was 8 years old, so 42 years
Wow.
that she's been involved in politics. I never thought that I'd get involved in public service in this way. But one of the things that she instilled in me was that if you don't get involved, you don't have the right to complain. And so when I left Doug's administration back in 2008, I realized that there were things that I wanted to see in this county that I didn't see anybody championing.
And that's Doug Palmer for our listeners, for
Yes.
who are, well, everyone's not from Trenton, so we got a worldwide
Okay, gotcha,
listening group.
gotcha.
So Doug Palmer was our first African American mayor here
That's
in
correct.
Trenton.
He was the mayor for 20 years here
For
in the
20
city.
years, yeah.
I worked for him for the last 7 years of his administration. I was the head of Parks and Recreation, Natural Resource and Culture for the city of Trenton.
You're a young man.
So yeah, I'm still.
You still young,
Still
so
pretty
that's why I'm
young,
looking
yeah.
at you now. So, you know, you were very young back then.
Yeah, well, people always say if they look at my resume, they're like, he was either really, really good, or his brother couldn't hold a job for nothing. You know, and so I've been blessed to have worked in a lot of different places and have really impacted a lot of different people throughout the state, throughout the country. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, but I've recognized that there wasn't the type of work going on politically in public service the way that I wanted it to go on.
Okay.
And so I ran for Freeholder in 2011 when Dan Benson went to the Assembly. And I've been on the Freeholder board now for the last 7 years. I'll be running again this November 6th. We've got our Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman on the ticket. We've got Anthony Varelli, who is a brand new freeholder from the Carpenters Union. You got my girl Valina Reynolds Jackson,
Reynolds,
who's a
yes.
new Assemblywoman.
Absolutely.
So you actually will have 2 brand new Assembly people who are fighting for not only the city of Trenton, but the Fighting 15th. So we need to make sure that we get out there and that we really support them. You've got myself as a freeholder, Ann Cannon, Pat Calavita, and a new young lady from Nina Melker from Hamilton, who's a new freeholder who took Anthony Varelli's seat when he went to the Assembly. And so you've got a full ticket out there running. And I really want people to get out to the polls because, again, if we do not get involved, we don't have the right to complain. You know, my mother shared with me one of my favorite proverbs is one that she's had hanging on her wall since I was a kid. It's an old Ghanaian proverb that says, the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. And if we don't begin to shore up our own homes, if we're not working in our own communities, if we're not getting our hands dirty and using our intellect in order to move the ball forward, then we're failing our homes and our nation will crumble. If Trenton crumbles, then this United States crumbles because the ruin of the nation begins in the homes.
That's right.
And so we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm willing to do that work. You know, we've done a lot of work in terms of trying to create equity for people of color, for women, for veterans, for small business owners at the freeholder level. We've really pushed for growth at the airport because I believe that that is an economic engine, development engine.
Our
And
local
so,
airport.
Our local airport.
Awesome.
When I joined the freeholder board in 2011, we had about 12 flights a week going out. Now we have close to 100 flights a week going out.
Awesome.
You know, the goal for me was if we could push Frontier and any other airlines that we could have come in to have greater flights coming in, that we could make ourselves a destination. You know, Mercer County is one of the most historically relevant places in the United States. This is the turning point of the Revolutionary War, right? So Washington crossed the Delaware in Mercer County. He marched up to Trenton and had not one battle, but 2 battles in Trenton, in Mercer County. Then he left and went to Princeton and had a battle in Princeton. They did the Victory Trail in Lawrence. So we've got historic value in this county. People want to come here. People want to understand what we have. Not only that, but then if you come here in the summertime, you can go hang out at Sesame Place, which is 8 miles outside the city of Trenton, or you can go up to Great Adventure and you can hang out, which is about 20 miles,
yeah.
right? So you have places to go, you have places to eat. And for me, when you have an airport expand, when people are doing more, when they're coming to our places as a destination, that means we have to widen roads. That means somebody's getting some work. right? If we have to widen roads because you're putting new restaurants in, that means a restaurateur gets to open up a new business, right? So it's about really expanding those types of horizons, and that's the type of vision that the Freeholder Board has right now.
And so what are the things for our listeners that you vote on or that we may not know? Like, just like, maybe people didn't know the airport. I didn't know. So do you share some of those things? Because, we didn't have a lot of people come out voting for our mayor race. This.
Yep.
So what's going to be the difference from people coming out for our freeholders in assembly? So that's 2 questions.
So and I'm glad you kind of took me back, because when I ran the first time, I realized that a lot of people didn't know what a freeholder was.
Right.
And we're actually the only state that still actually uses that term. Freeholder is an Old English term, literally from England, which means that you are free. You also are debt free, so you don't owe anyone. You own your own land.
Okay.
Back then, that's the only way that you could run for office. Right, and so we are freeholders, and freeholders actually are basically city council, but for the whole county. Right, so you have a county executive who's like the mayor for the whole county.
Okay.
We are the check and balance to that county executive.
Okay.
So the sheriff's office, the county clerk's office, the airport, the streets department for the full county. All those things fall underneath the county college. Those things fall underneath the auspices of the Mercer County Freeholder Board. The technical schools. One of my sons is actually at the Special Services School District, which is run by the county. My other son is actually at the STEM Academy,
okay.
which is run by the county. So those are all county things that are run by the freeholder, the county executive. So those are things that we do. One of the things that I'm really excited that we actually just passed was a set-aside ordinance. In that set-aside ordinance, we started to realize that we didn't have enough women-owned businesses, we didn't have enough minority-owned businesses, we didn't have enough veteran-owned businesses, and we did not have enough small businesses that were actually getting contracts from the county. So we passed a set-aside ordinance that basically said that 10% of all revenue that goes through our county in terms of contracts needs to be doled out to minority businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran businesses, and small businesses. And so I'm really excited about that, because what that does is that gives people who have not had an opportunity to get into the fray and make money and grow their own businesses to get into the fray. So,
and how do they do that? By just hearing this, you hear there might be a woman or a veteran, someone, okay, wow, here's this great opportunity. Now, is there a website, that they go on to apply for this, or how does this work?
well, so they can go to www.mercercounty.org and look up our procurement office. And so they can understand when bids and contracts are coming out. But they need to also do their homework and make sure that they're stronger businesses. And I would direct them to John Harmon, in MTAC. The chamber, the African American Chamber now, it's bigger than just Mercer, the African American Chamber. But the work that they're doing to make sure that businesses are ready, to make sure that small businesses understand they need to be bonded. Women-owned businesses know they need to be bonded in a certain way. They need to have a payroll that is a certified payroll many times if you're going to do some of the work that we're doing. Whatever you need to do to be ready, because success only happens when preparedness and opportunity meet. We're giving you the opportunity by passing the ordinance, but are you prepared in order to take on the work? One of the things that we also asked for in the ordinance was that the county begin to take on working with small businesses to say, this is what you need to be prepared. Right, so we're doing that from the county's perspective. We are also doing a study to find out which of those 4 groups that we named need the most opportunity. Right, so we don't want to give them all the same equity. If we go in and we find that women-owned businesses, that there are only 3 women-owned businesses in the full county that are getting contracts, then that means they need more help. So rather than being 30% of that 10% of all the revenue, they need to probably be 40% of that 10% of all the revenue. So that's the sort of work that the freeholders are doing.
This is, we need more time. We're almost out of time, but you got to come back. You got to promise me you're going to come back.
I would love to come back.
When is the voting?
November 6th, all day, every day, and you can vote early because you can vote by mail. And I would suggest if you're a person that says, my job sometimes keeps me, I might forget, whatever it might be, we will get out to you. If you call, can't give you the county office because there's a separation between politics and actual governance.
Right.
But if you call the station, I'll leave my information with the station.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
they can call me, and I will find you. Matter of fact, I'll just give them my cell phone number.
Give them your cell phone.
609-638-0644, or you can email me at samtess97@gmail.com, and I will find a way to get that ballot to you so that you can get that absentee ballot in.
Oh, I want to thank you. Our time is out. But listen, Sam, it's been a blessing to have you. I've learned so much, and you're a wealth of knowledge. So I'm hoping to get you back, but also hopefully you'll have a forum for all of this, because you are such a historian. You know, I'm listening to you, young man, and you just know it. And I think that brings pride. I feel the pride that you have for this city. And I think if the kids can really, a lot of the other kids can get this message, they too will have this pride. And not just them, the parents, the other grown-ups as well. So thank you. God bless you and your beautiful wife and your family and all that you are doing for the YMCA as a freeholder, as minister of music. You're doing it up. But listen, to our listeners, we'll be back. We have another special guest. But again, this is Lisa Austin Granville, and you're listening to WIMG 1300, and you're viewing us on WPHY TV Mercer. And we'll be back after this.